Welcome back, everybody. I hope you're all fantastic. Today we're taking a look at the NUX Duotime dual delay. We have two independent delay lines with the ability to have independent time and feedback controls, as well as 6 different delay modes controlled by this 6-way knob right here. There's a parameter control which is going to perform a different function depending on the mode you're on. There is a display which can show you what's going on in milliseconds or BPM, and there is an overall mix control which doubles up as a level control if you're using the onboard looper. This is my dry sound, PRS Custom 24 and the JTM 45 model in my Axe FX3. And let's just do a tour of the different delay modes. I'm going to start on the analog mode. In this mode, the parameter control is going to control the modulation. Let's check it out. So that is a really lovely warm sounding delay. Let's add just a little bit of modulation. I find cranking this all the way up is really extreme, so I like it at about 9 o'clock. That's kind of sweet. I can also set a different time subdivision on each of these delays here. So basically, if I move this over here, say to the dotted 8th note, and I tap in the tempo, you can see the delays are being scaled relative to one another. So now I've got a quarter note and a dotted 8th note delay. And let's face it, that's probably the mode most of us are going to use when we use a dual delay. So let's just roll with that one and have a listen to the tape mode. The parameter control here is going to control the amount of tape saturation. That sounds a lot like the NUX tape core delay, which I've also demoed on this channel if you want to check it out. I was a big fan of that one. The digital delay, the parameter control here controls something called hardness. Let's turn it down. This is just a really crisp, clear delay line as is. That is wonderful. I really like the way that sounds with whatever this hardness parameter does. Let's check out the mod delay. I believe this is based on an old Ibanez delay, so that's kind of a cool thing. They're modeling something that's not just like a tape echo or, you know, an old Korg rack delay or something like that. I thought that was an interesting choice. I'll just add a bit of modulation. That's pretty interesting using that with a really short pair of delay times. It's kind of giving me a rotary speaker vibe. I can of course, change these subdivisions wherever I want them. So if I wanted faster delays, let's just kind of smack that in and see where we go. I really like that mode. That's probably my favorite mode on this pedal. Then we have a Verb mode, and it's interesting because you can turn the delays totally off with this and basically bring in a preset shimmer reverb with the parameter control. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of shimmer reverbs in the world, so for me, I would probably use that mode the least, but I really like the way the mod delay and the analog delays sound here. So let's hear them with some distortion, and what I'll do is I'll show you how to go about setting up a lovely lead sound with this. So we'll start with the delay off. This is the dirty sound. This is the Mark IV model in the Axe-Fx 3. Really filthy. What I've got, I'm going to have time 1 set as a quarter note, and we'll do the same thing, time 2 set as a dotted eighth note. I'll tap the tempo in, and then let's just start off with no repeats and a very small amount of mix and no modulation on this mod mode. That is super sweet. So just a couple of repeats to kind of surround my overall tone, but the fact that I can just blend it in enough, I can put a little bit of modulation on there and not have it clash too much with my main lead tone is really nice. But I suspect the analog mode is going to be even better for this. So let's go over there, and because it's such a dark sounding delay, again, it's not going to clash too much with the main tone I've got going on. I can probably bring the level up, but we'll try that in a second. And I can control that with tap tempo. So if I wanted faster delay, or if I wanted slower delays, what's the maximum delay time I can get here? Over 800 milliseconds. That's heaps. That's amazing. Let's have a listen to the digital mode and see if this hardness control kind of actually is a ducker control. I'm not sure, but I'll start with it at a minimum and then at a maximum, and we'll see which one sounds better with a lead sound. I think hardness at a minimum there kind of does the trick. So I really, really like that on a lead sound. That for the kind of dirty stuff, the mod delay for the clean stuff. Beautiful. And you can see I've stuck to really vanilla kind of subdivisions over here. Let's just try a different thing, maybe like a really short delay on one channel and a longer delay on another channel, and see if we can kind of get that stereo width thing going on. I'll just bring, let's maybe try that on the mod delay mode. And we'll just bring in a bit of modulation. So it might be kind of like a faux chorus on one side and a delay on the other. That's kind of cool. Probably too much mix going on there. Let's try this. That's fun. I'm sure as well if we used a really, really short set of times here, like let's kind of offset them a little bit and add a bit more modulation, we should be able to get a stereo chorus thing happening. Let's try that. I like that. So what subdivision's that? I think there are, so I've got like 800-ish milliseconds on one side. Again, it's almost that kind of either 75% or golden ratio delay, which just happens to be what I like. One last thing, let's try that shimmer verb with some volume swells. I dropped my pick, but we got to roll with things. That kind of plate shimmer, again, is not the most pleasant thing right at the end there, but I didn't mind that on a distorted sound. So that's kind of what's going on with the Duotime. Like I said earlier, the mod delay, the digital delay, I actually kind of like all the modes, although I wouldn't really use the Verb mode very much. There are a few things, however, which they could address in a firmware update because there is a USB connection on the back. One really nice thing about modern digital gear, which this has. I would love to just see a display option where you can just see the BPM. So you can basically have like, say, 120 BPM, then you can set your two delay times visually here. You could go like, hey, quarter note, and over here you can do that. At the moment, if you hold down for the BPM, it will tell you the BPM of time 1 and time 2, and I don't find that very helpful. I think it would be much more useful to say, hey, Here's where the quarter note pulse is. It's like 120 beats per minute, for example, like somewhere around there. Then if I set this to a dotted eighth and plug that in, I don't really care that my dotted eighth is at 160 beats per minute because I'm thinking of it as a dotted eighth note. You know, it's a subdivision of that core pulse in there. Plus, it would be really cool if you could do that and just make the display bigger. So you could take up all of this tiny screen and it could say 120 BPM as your kind of main pulse. And like I said earlier, have those 2 times there. It's kind of nice that I think the main thing that I think of with this is something like the Strymon dig. And the dig has secondary functions kind of buried beneath the surface in there, which if you don't know about them, it's kind of annoying to try and remember like which button to hold down and where to go. But we also always have smartphones, so it only takes a couple of minutes to look up. But it would be really cool on this to have, I don't know if they can do it as a secondary function, but maybe that parameter function, like if I held down the on button and then twisted the parameter function, maybe I could have like a tone control. Because I do really like the way that digital delay sounds, but it would be lovely just to have the option to make it sound a little darker or to roll out some low end and bandwidth limit it a little bit more. These are kind of small issues for a dual delay pedal that costs $150. That's 150 US dollars. That's half the price of the Strymon dig. And you all know I love the dig. It is one of my favorite sounding delays ever. This covers some of the ground of that. I think you can't really compare the two because the dig just goes, hey, 3 different delay sounds. They all sound really different. They're all kind of character delays. You can have varying amounts of modulation. Go for it. Whereas this actually gives you the 2 independent delay times. So you can set them any way you like. It doesn't just have to be a ratio of one another, or you don't have to deep dive like on the dig. So that's a plus. And the parameter control is nice. It's nice just having like a continuous sweep for something like modulation or tape saturation on there. I'm not crazy about that kind of shimmer reverb mode on there, but you know, there's still 5 other really good sounding modes on there. And yeah, I mean, I didn't demo the looper on this. It's a pretty basic phrase sampler. It does the thing. I'm more interested in this as an actual delay unit. So I think it's a win for NUX. Like most of their other stuff, it's all priced so aggressively, and these pedals especially are so well put together. This kind of sits for me in between like the Strymon dig, which is like a boutique, just a couple of sounds thing, and the Boss DD200, which gives you a lot of different delay sounds. You know, you don't have dual delays on every mode on the DD200, and this is kind of cheaper than both of them. So like I said, I think it's a win. It's really well constructed, and hopefully they can put out some extra firmware updates in the future, and I think just kind of streamline some of these UI things and maybe even add some future functions. If they do that, then it will be even more of a win. But what did you think? Leave me a comment. Did you dig the delay tones I was pulling here? Were there any things that I didn't cover that you had questions about? And is this something that you're going to go out and buy and chuck on your pedal board? Thank you all so much for watching the video. Like I said, leave a comment, hit the like button, do all that kind of stuff, and I will see you all next time. Thanks so much for watching.